Welcome to today's episode, the podcast where we discuss the most recent installments of a different series every show. It is November 28th. Stranger Things Season 8 is finally out. It's Black Friday, and if you're out there shopping, good luck to you on whatever purchase you're trying to make.
It's Jon Stewart's birthday, and
That's cool.
I can connect that to Ted Danson because did you know what happened with Jimmy Kimmel and Jon Stewart?
What, did they fought?
Well, a month ago, Jimmy Kimmel was on Ted Danson's podcast, and
that's right. He did start a podcast. Did he start the podcast because of this show, A Man on the Inside?
I'm not sure. I don't even know how long it's been on for, but I know that Jimmy Kimmel said that Jon Stewart and him were vying for the same position, the position that Jimmy Kimmel has now, because Bill Maher's politically incorrect went to network, and suddenly I think ABC was trying to pick between the two. But
so
I think
Stewart already had the Daily Show at the time.
He either had the Daily Show or he had the Jon Stewart Show, which was the show he had before the Daily Show. I don't know when the time.
He only had that MTV show for a year.
Yeah,
so.
Come to think of it, I think it was the late 90s, so it probably was the Daily Show.
I think Bill Maher was cut off from his show in 2003 or 2002.
Yes, right.
So it would have been after the Daily Show had been around for a while. It's weird to think that Stewart would have left then to jump onto a late night television on
especially because he seemes so comfortable
ABC.
Even right as he got into the Daily Show.
Do you think he would have taken his bit with him? Would he have hated Matt Damon as much? Anyways, yeah. So Jimmy Kimmel, what's his deal with The Man on the Inside, though?
Well, I was just saying it connects with Ted Danson because of the podcast.
Okay, and it's also Dick Van Dyke's birthday pretty soon. He's turning 99. Yeah, a lot of birthdays and congratulatory
Ted
stuff
Danson's
as
birthday,
2026.
Ted Danson's birthday is right the day before mine. So that's something I learned as well.
December 29th?
Yep.
Okay. And he is 77 years old. His wife is 72 years old. And that was a big deal because in the show, she's 74 years old. And from the interview that I read, she was upset that they aged her up. So Michael Schur, who is the Schurverse, he's done everything from The Good Place, partly The Office.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And you see just all these characters or all these people who have worked with him before just thrown into this.
Yeah,
kind of like Bill Lawrence. And when he works on Scrubs and he goes on to do all those other things.
Also a lot of circa comedy Bang Bang crowd. Jason Mantzoukas shows up this season. Eugene Cordero.
Always fun to see him.
Max Greenfield.
If you think about it, Twisted Metal also has Jason Mantzoukas. It also has the Brooklyn Nine-Nine lady
Stephanie
Quiet.
Beatrice,
yeah, Stephanie Beatrice. And so it just feels like this whole world of comedy. It's just different versions of those universes.
It's quite shocking going from I Love LA, which was about early 20-somethings, kind of It's Always Sunny characters where they're not necessarily likable, but I guess the show wants you to see where they're going to turn up. Going to this, which is, I feel made for old people, because, again, it stars Ted Danson.
It's not Boston Legal, but it's definitely there. It's silly humor that you can laugh with your grandma.
Wholesome. It's definitely not trying to be dark in any way. They did, I feel kind of ramp up the drama a little bit, especially when you're dealing with Julie and her mom, Vanessa. But
everybody sort of knows this already, but the first season was based on a Chilean documentary that was actually kind of dark because it dealt with a guy who had been hired to go into a nursing facility and check on kind of the residents. And so he went undercover and he made friends with a lot of them. And he learned that it wasn't really the staff that was mistreating them, but really the fact that they just never got visitation from some of their families, which was really making them lonely and really progressed their diseases in a way that people lose themselves.
So the first season just decided to make it really light because I don't think I watched every episode of the first season, but the premise was that Ted Danson was at an old facility, an old folks home.
He goes undercover, so it follows that premise. He becomes a PI,
and he's trying to find a necklace, right?
Yeah, someone has stolen the necklace, and
then Dee Dee is the one that runs the facility, and they end up finding out who did it. And then at the very end of the first season, he decides that he's going to work more with Julie on new cases, right?
The moral message, though, I think is still the same, which is that there was no person who stole it on purpose. It was someone who had dementia. And really the thing that was exacerbating every one of the residents there was the fact that they were lonely.
Right.
They wanted a friend group. And that's why that place continued into the second season as his friend group.
Mm-hmm.
So that was neat.
But it's completely different in the second season because the second season revolves around a painting being burned and
certainly. So there's a divergence. It goes Rodney Dangerfield in that he's going back to school as an assistant or as a professor of engineering. I don't think he has any skills in that.
Yeah, he poses that he's going to be a new professor and even hires a personal assistant, I think, in episode 4.
Oh, does he?
But yeah,
the whole idea is that they wanted to retain the mystery element where this 77-year-old Ted Danson could mix in with a lot of people around his age and stuff, because other professors are kind of old too,
Right.
and find out what's going on.
Ben Collins, and I'm not going to try and butcher his name, but he's played by the man from Good Night and Good Luck. It's like David something. Again, I can't say his last name.
Expanse, yeah.
Yeah. I thought that he was actually my favorite character in this season. It's funny because he's not a character that is necessarily funny. Like, he's not given a ton of funny lines, but he's so good in his role. Like, whenever he's talking about how much the college means to him in episode 4, when Ted Danson's character Charles is trying to find a riddle, or he's like toasting the teachers, I think in episode 6, like whenever they focused on him, it seemed like not only was he the most morally right character, but he was just so good in like actually, he was just such a good guy that even though he hated the main character, he was my favorite.
So here's my question to you: is you've been to college and you graduated, and so did I, but like, did you had your favorite professors and your least favorite professors? Do you think this guy would have been one of your favorite professors?
Yes, because actually my favorite professor it was a professor of English, and then here I think he's also the professor of like literature or something like that.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's very snooty about it, and he's curmudgeon-y, and he thinks people are stupid around him.
They also use him very sparingly, though, but just very
good.
strange.
I mean, maybe his schedule
I
is
think
that way.
I think he's probably just so famous that they were like,
Did you think that he was the one who was so? The overall mystery is that instead of there being a theft like a necklace, instead there was a big donation that was going to come from a big Elon Musk type figure.
Yeah, played by Gary Cole. He's always playing the dick. His name
except for Mveep. Mveep is kind of a mix.
I've only ever seen him play the dick, but he was Brad Vennick. That's his name in the show, and it was a $400 million donation that he was going to give the Wheeler College.
Let's round up to 500. So like, I would just say half a billion.
Just make it easier.
He's about to give $500 million to the college, but he has his own demands, right? And the person he's making the demands to seems like they're willing to submit to them, right? Like the dean of the college,
Jack Barringer.
Yeah, Jack. He seems like he's not smart enough, and he also doesn't care enough about his faculty to really push back when the guy says, "I'm going to come in and I'm going to fire half the staff and I'm going to get rid of the liberal arts program."
That was kind of revealed. Like it was a plan that became more revealed as the season went on. You don't learn what the real plan was until episode 7.
Yes. So Project Aurora, which is what I was just describing, that's not apparent from the get-go. At first, you just think there's someone trying to prevent a very nice benefactor of a billionaire from giving away money to the school.
There was a ceremony that was celebrating him. There was a painting that they were going to give him, just kind of
to honor him,
to kissing up to him, though.
Yeah,
really.
I think it's like the honorary degree that they give anybody who ever makes a giant donation. You know, they make the wing of a different department.
But what happened was that when they opened it up to show the painting, there was a note that said something like, basically just saying that he was a dick and that no one should trust him. And then they all run outside. Everyone that was at this ceremony, a painting is being burned, and they're trying to figure out for a majority of this season who wrote the note, because whoever wrote the note was the one that burned the painting.
So they're trying to connect the evidence. By then, though, they'd already hired Charles to be the PI. So he should have seen or been paying attention to what was going down with that painting.
Because there was a stolen laptop. We didn't mention that. But yeah, that's the reason
what got
why
them initially like a little bit scared that someone was trying to stop the donation from going through. So Charles is at that function, but then he gets distracted. How does a 77-year-old man get distracted? Well, of course, with his real life wife, you know?
Mary Steenburgen. The last time I saw her, or probably one of the only things I've seen
her name's Mona in this, right?
Mona, yes. She was shooting Scott Grimes through her purse in Justified. I know she plays the villain in season 6.
Joan of Arcadia, Step Brothers, the mom in that, the stepmom in that or something.
So much, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she's been around forever. Anyway, so she is the person who distracts Charles, but not on purpose. I guess they just kind of hit it off, and she is the
music teacher.
There. But she's also like, she was at Woodstock, she said.
Yeah. So, she's had a crazy career. She even sings in episode 7, "Goodbye Baby." That song.
She do a good job with it.
Yeah, thankfully, because they could have easily messed that up where it was just like a 70-year-old singing, but she still has a good voice to her.
Okay.
But yeah, and they also get together like right away, right?
Yeah, they're making out.
Yeah, end of the first episode, and that continues throughout. I was
Well, he
wondering.
also spills the beans to her.
Yeah, episode 2, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the season. He's not comfortable with lying to her, so straight away he's like, "Yes, I'm a PI, I'm investigating this college, I'm trying to see what's happening." I thought that there was a chance that they were gonna try and pull a twist at the end where she had something to do with it. I was glad that the series didn't go that direction.
I mean,
In episode 3, they give you the thing where she's cleared because she said that she was stuck in a music room as the painting was being burned, and we see a list that shows that, but I was like, did she, like, somehow try and plan this thing? And no, she's not part of
I
it.
think they also give you some red herrings because she has this thing where, like, when you're talking to her, she'll just walk away for an extended amount of
She
time.
has a song in her
And she
head.
says that's because she's writing that
Yeah.
way and that she gets distracted. And so I thought they were going to like explain that while she was doing that the first time that they met, that she was actually like setting up the fire that ended up taking down the portrait. And so I was fully on board with her being evil. And then the second episode, when he just spills everything to her, I was like, oh, now she can tell whoever she's working with and they can plan around him. And that's how the rest of the episodes are going to go. Didn't turn out that way. However, it's not like it took a completely unpredictable route because by the time you start to figure out what's going on, how many episodes are you in?
Well, it really the full thing was shown at the ending, but 2 through 6 were just a lot of interviews and different people that it could have been. Like at first they think it's Professor Elizabeth Mookie, the head of the fine arts department. Then they learned that the donation that was going to be sent was going to protect the art museum, so it couldn't be her.
When
Then,
did they find out that like the arts, all of the art programs were at risk if this guy became?
that was episode 6 where you learned that Project Aurora, you don't know
So
what
it's
it is.
fairly late.
Yeah, and then episode 7 at the very end is when they actually get all the details.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Keep going.
And then Max Griffin at the very end of the second episode, Charles is investigating because they know that whoever wrote the note used a fountain pen. He's trying to go to the kitchen to figure out if any of the markings is like the marking on the note. And Max Griffin is there, the journalism professor. He's acting very strange, but then we learn in episode 3, really, it's because he's living at the university and he steals food from the kitchen. And
That's
then
how
again,
poor they are.
and then like we were kind of talking
I did
about
have a teacher in school in like seventh grade who would
seventh
always,
grade.
yeah, in seventh grade when I was in some sort of science class, and in the between classes for lunch, he would have ramen, and the
Yeah.
kids would make fun of him, and he would come right back and be like, "Yeah, this is what I have to eat because this is literally all I got right now."
Yeah,
guys."
that was kind of what we learned. Yeah, I think in episode 3, what they gave Max was it was a gambling addiction, so he turned really poor and then had to live at the university and eat the food there. Mona, again, we kind of talked about a little bit, but in episode 3, they need to verify her claim that she was stuck in the music room.
So they do their due diligence,
Right.
Do.
And then episode 4, Charles hires Claire. Claire was a waitress during the event. She was a student at the event as the personal assistant. And I don't think that
Hey,
they
Claire
think-
is also the person in the first episode that everybody seemed to know, the person who was giving out the hors d'oeuvres, and for some reason, even Gary Cohen's character, Gary
Cole.
Gary
Brad
Cole's
Bennick. Yeah.
Brad Bennick's character knew who she was.
Yeah.
It was just weird to me.
And she ends up giving them information because her roommate is connected with an anonymous email account called Wheeler Guardian, so they might have some stuff. Episode 5 didn't have anything to do with it. It was actually a Thanksgiving episode.
Did that
really...
take place back at the first season?
No. This was at just a house that kind of everyone was invited to.
Are we getting at least, because I know the second part of that PI program, Julie is working to find out her own mystery.
That was the biggest thing in episode 5 is that Julie and Vanessa, they had like a big falling out, and that's where we learned that Vanessa went to jail when like Julie was 11 years old.
That's what you're talking about, her and her mom.
Oh, yeah.
The PI and her mom. I was talking about at the whatever Oaks, the place that he was from.
Pacific View?
Yes, while Pacific View, they're working on that case. Is anything coming about with that?
Not really. In fact, like in episode 2, we don't see a lot of Stephanie Beatriz or Dee Dee because I think she said that she had like vacation time for like 8 weeks or so.
Mhm.
And so she shows up kind of frequently throughout the series, but she's not like I think as big a part as she was in season 1.
Right. Are you supposed to believe that the PI Julie and Dee Dee, that they're like together, that they're going to eventually like
They hint at it at the very end of the season. They
okay,
might be
that
they
there's
might
a
be a
romantic thing
Yeah,
going on there?
but they're not actually together quite yet. And then in episode 6, they think, okay, we are kind of running out of suspects here. We need to interview Vinnick's influencer wife. She might have been a reason. She might have been the one to be part of this whole plan. And she
And
ends up
the way she was introduced.
Yeah. So we thought it was going to be her daughter because Brad Vinnick is
He
introducing.
turns around and he says, "Oh, look, it's my wife and
And
daughter."
there was
And then
there was a really young woman and a really old woman, and you think he's gonna kiss the old woman, and then the young woman walks up to him and kisses him, and that ends up being the stepmom to his
she
daughter.
reminds me a little bit of Superman, the
I
one
was
who
gonna
liked
say.
Jimmy Olsen.
Yes, almost
Lex
entirely.
Luthor's
Blonde hair, completely into social media. She ends up talking about Aurora because she thinks Aurora is a woman that Brad Vinnick is cheating on her with. And then that's when we see at the very end of the episode, Andrea Yee, professor of economics, Julie kind of confronts her and she's like, Aurora, I'm not sleeping with Brad Vinnick. Project Aurora is just a plan that's going to change all of Wheeler College.
As soon as you find out, though, that Project Aurora is just him firing all the liberal arts program, did you not, like, part of you think this has to be all the professors teaming up to then take this deal down?
Yeah, especially when they were, like, going to everyone and they were like, there's these types, this is the reason why they might be this person. I was like, it's probably going to be all of them. It's gonna be like a Murder on the Orient Express type of scenario.
Yeah.
But episode 7 was probably my favorite. It's also, I think, the longest out of the whole series because it was 36 minutes, but everyone is given, I feel like, something to do this episode, have their shining moment because they're trying to take Brad Vinnick's phone, and it's this entire like kind of spice parody or spy parody where Charles, Julie, Mona, Calvert, Virginia, and Elliot have to try and distract Brad Vinnick. Well, I think Julie is going to take the phone, and then Calvert is also just going to be doing lookout. But I thought that it was a really funny episode because everyone got their own moment. By the very end of it, they are able to actually steal his phone, and and that's when they learn what Project Aurora is. And then episode 8 is all about who did it.
And who did it?
It turned out that Holly was the assistant to Jack, the president of the college. She was the one.
Oh, you're going right to the actual who did it. Because it starts with who took the blame.
Ben Collins.
So the curmudgeon professor, he said, I'm retiring anyways, and so it was me. I'm so smart.
Yes.
At first, they blame it on Jack. They think that the dean himself, was up for a promotion somewhere else, and he didn't want to risk that by showing that he didn't care about liberal arts.
Because, the whole entire plan was that they were going to fire everyone.
So they got it wrong.
Yes.
And so they blamed it on one of the few people it wasn't.
And when Ben Collins ended up saying it was him, not only was I suspicious that it wasn't, but it reminded me a lot of, like, Murderville, the Christmas special, where they didn't even, like, try to guess who it was. It was just the person just came out and straight said, like, I was the one to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So he decides that he's going to take the blame, but then when they're really looking at the case, I think a couple months later,
I think it's more like Mona asks, or she gives Ted Danson's character an ultimatum. Yeah.
Right.
She's like, go away with me. And you won't be able to see your nursing home friends again. And you won't be able to see your daughter. You'll be able to Zoom with them, but we're pretty old already. So let's spend the rest of our years.
One of the best lines I thought she was given was, I think it was a wholesome line, but she was like, we have more summers behind us than we do ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, that's a good line.
It's probably taken from somewhere else. But in fact, I think there were other lines because The Good Place was so, especially in the last couple episodes and seasons, was so like philosophical. There were certain things that they like recycled. Chidi had several moments. I think they definitely paid homage to that in the last couple episodes. For those who still like that show, who haven't seen it, I know we're ruining a lot of the plot stuff, but if they want to see a lot of the Easter eggs, I don't want to quite jump into those.
I saw an article saying that they did a lot of those references to The Good Place in this season.
You got like Veronica Mars showing up in one of the episodes at the end of. So Charles, he decides not to go with Mona, right?
Yes, that was he at first he was like, yes, I'll go with you, and then I think he talks to Emily and he just kind of realizes
his daughter.
Yeah, he's like, it won't work.
I don't know if it wouldn't work, or if he feels like he doesn't want to risk the relationship he now has with her and everybody else's best friend, and the book club that he's a part of, he does feel like it's necessary to go in and explain that he has solved the case correctly, figured out it wasn't just what's his face,
It
the
wasn't Ben
curmudgeon guy.
Collins. It wasn't Ben Collins. It was Holly.
Yes.
Holly was working with a ton of professors, but she was the one to write the note. She was also the one to burn the painting.
And to overhear that this guy's project was to get rid of all of them. And so and they didn't want to get her fired. So what's his face took the fall. He goes and visits him. And when he leaves that guy, he gives him a note and he says, go check out this nursing home and make this delivery for me. He's not saying go join up because he knows the guy would never do that. But then he leaves through the other door, I think. And the way that he leaves with a bright light and everything, because he's playing sort of a demon/angel character in The Good Place, it just definitely reminded me of like, oh, maybe that was what they were kind of hinting at. So interesting part of the show. How does it end?
So Ben Collins, he brings the letter to Pacific View and he gives it to Dee Dee. Dee Dee reads it and it says something like, take care of him. He's
find a good place for this guy.
Yeah, and then he ends up actually staying at Pacific View and joins the book club. And we even see a quick scene.
She shows her like maneuverability because she takes that second. It's like, hey, could you design our bookstore or whatever for us, our library? And so he stays on, and the last thing we see is
they're having a book club meeting, and the person that was so mean to him in the first season,
Charles,
and Ben Collins are both like kind of
two grouchy old men,
insulting Charles the whole time. Probably again one of my favorite jokes throughout.
What are you doing here? You don't even live here. That type of thing. Yeah. So would you want to see another season?
I think that, it's such a light show, and I don't think I'm ever going to hate it. Ted Danson is very, very likable. I also like
he's starting 12 shows.
They got, and then like Stephen McKinley Henderson, we didn't talk about Calvert a lot, but like that guy has starred since 2011 in 9 Oscar-nominated movies, 8 of them nominated for Best Picture. But it's funny because I know he always shows up just in like small roles and things, but it was fun seeing him as well.
It's a feel-good show because everybody gets a happy ending except for maybe Apollo. Because what happens to Jason Mantzoukas? He has his hummus, he has his paint, and then they kick him out.
Both were hummus.
They kick him out, and then was he painting the house with hummus? I think so, and so I hope he comes back if they do get another season.
I'm glad that Mona and Charles' story worked because a lot of the series spends a lot of time on it. I thought that
I did read some reviews that were a little anti-Mona for this season. Do you know why that would be? Maybe they're just not happy for her.
Maybe because it takes up a lot of the story.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. The parts of the story that didn't work for me were really Julie. Julie and Vanessa, they take forever to solve things, and it seems like every single
they're
episode.
Not that good.
Every single episode, they're always facing like Julie just being a bitch to Vanessa, and then Julie at the very end being like, "I'm sorry, we need to work on this," and then it seemed to happen again, just every single episode until the ending where they're finally deciding to watch Friends. I guess as much as as much as I know Dee Dee was in the first season, she didn't really need to be in this season. She doesn't do a lot. Again, she's given kind of that small thing with Julie, but I didn't feel like that really even necessarily needed to be there. You also have old references. AI pictures not looking correctly. I know that Jack Barringer brings up Glee, and then Charles says things like...
Is it wrong to bring up Glee nowadays?
Well,
I have to change my scripts.
I'm just saying that the references were old. Like, even Charles says sus and eating and leave no crumbs.
How is sus old at this point?
And
that was good during the pandemic.
I mean, all those 3 happen in like the span of 10 seconds, I think, in episode 4. And yeah, the drama doesn't really work. But I'm going to give the show a 6 out of 10 because I think the acting is good. There are funny moments in it. There's good places of heart. It's good enough to pass.
The reviews for season 2 have been fairly positive. Like it seems like it's trucking along there. The New York Times did say it falls into sort of the mid-tier TV stuff. However,
this is not Succession.
you're never gonna hate it, right? There wasn't one episode where you were just like, oh my God, when will this end?
Even episode 5, which was my least favorite, had probably my favorite joke where the kids are playing this football game with the worm, but they're all worms, and then a worm scores a touchdown and it starts doing the worm.
Yes. I love it.
And we see Charles even playing that game for a little bit in the final episode.
That's hilarious. It's like with shows like Phantasmas, which might get more attention, and like because it was the creator and also like the weird world that they're creating, the creator and the world that they're creating. at the same time, there will be episodes where you're just like frustrated, like heck, you just pull your hair out being like, end please. I don't like this. And with these type of very like basic stuff, but with people who are likable and I guess plots that are interesting enough, you'll never find a reason not to enjoy it if you have the time.
Way better than Mr. Mayor. I remember when we did Mr. Mayor, I did not like that series.
Poor thing, because like Bobby Moynihan should appear in this.
He probably
that
will.
would help. They should bring the whole cast of SNL. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.